we'd like to make welcome some few persons in our midst.
All right. Firstly, we have Honorable Saeed Musa Abdullahi. You're highly welcome. He's the Deputy Chairman, House of Reps Committee on Finance and member representing Bida, Bako, Kachia Federal Constituency in Niger State. You're highly welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. We celebrate you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. All right, next up, we have Felix Hala, the head of press and political Chancellor, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany. You're highly welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for being here. From our end, I'd like to recognize in our midst a very delectable lady. When you get the mail from her, you know that something good is coming. On the flip side, you need to be chastised, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to recognize the Group Executive Director, Corporate Services of Media Trust Group. Ladies and gentlemen, Haji Hadiza Bala. Recognize her with a round of applause. Our mommy in the house.
Yes, welcome, welcome.
And I'd like to recognize, sitting just beside her, our own personal person, very close to us, the big boss. Ladies and gentlemen, Ibrahim Shehu Adamu, the Chief Operating Officer of Trust Television, and of course, Editorial Director, Media Trust Group, the big boss. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you.
But not to forget, we have Muzaffar Hakan Tok, the head of political office, Embassy of the Republic of Turkey in Abuja. Merhaba, you're highly welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for finding time to be with us.
All right, we have another one, Melanie von Marschijk. Excuse my pronunciation.
Perfect, right?
Head of Department, Culture and History, Dr. Wille. You're highly welcome.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead. All right, we have Ode Hansen Fugera. Again, excuse my pronunciation.
Yeah, perfect.
Deputy Head, Distribution Africa, Dr. Wille as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize in our midst our main singing, the station manager, Liberty TV and Radio Abuja, Nigeria. Wherever you are, we recognize you. A round of applause for him. Just behind there. Go ahead, the other one.
Another person to recognize is Samira Shelhaz. You're highly welcome. Head Partner, Content Manager, Dr. Wille as well.
Thank you very much for being here. We'd like to also recognize in our midst some entertainment representatives from Kannywood film industry. Kannywood is the film industry from northern Nigeria. And we'd like to make welcome some of them who are with us tonight. We'd like to recognize Abubakar Bashir Meishada, a film producer and social media influencer. Meishada, we recognize and welcome you. Thank you for being here. Come closer so you can take the next one.
All right, we have Lawal Ahmed, a legend actor and film producer. Is there social media influencer with over 200 million views on YouTube. You're highly welcome and thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have our very own Amin Saira. Saira Movies, producer and film producer, director, and social media influencer as well, with over 250 million views. You're highly welcome. Thank you for being here.
We'd like to also welcome Sadiq Sani. Sadiq, an award-winning actor, social media influencer with over 100 million views. We recognize and welcome you.
All right, we have Zahra Dini Yakuba Shaibu, Doking Arife TV, with 1.7 million followers as well. Thank you very much for being here.
Last one.
All right, we have Hamisu Lamido Iantama, Kannywood pioneer, as well as prominent film actor. Thank you for being here. A round of applause, please.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to go into the event proper. Once again, we are glad to be here, and we are happy that you found time to be here with us this evening as we launch Afrimaxx Hausa. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we'd like to invite to please make remarks on behalf of the two partners, We would like to start with our own home from Trust Television. Ladies and gentlemen, please, to make very brief remarks, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Chief Operating Officer of Trust Television, and of course, Editorial Director, Media Trust, Ibrahim Shehu, to please step forward and present his opening remarks. Make the applause louder. The more you clap, the better you clap.
I would like to hear
the
so
more
much
he will be.
applause
Thank
because
you.
this is our very own. You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, colleagues, partners, friends, today is a proud moment for us at Media Trust Group as we gather to launch Afrimaxx Hausa, a program that beautifully showcases African creativity, innovation, and culture through a lens that speaks directly to our people. It is a moment that affirms our belief in collaboration, that elevates narratives, empower local talent, and bring fresh, inspiring stories to our audiences. At Trust TV, we have always been driven by excellence in storytelling, from our award-winning documentaries to our growing slate of original productions. We have proven that Nigerian media can meet global standards without losing its local soul. Our production capacity continues to expand, and partnership like this gives us the opportunity to show even more of what we can do. This launch also builds on the incredible work of our Hausa language platforms, Armenia, which has been the heartbeat of our Hausa journalism, and also our youngest platform, Trust Radio. Together, these platforms have allowed us to connect deeply with millions of people, especially in northern Nigeria. Now with Afrimaxx Hausa, we have a unique opportunity to reach younger audiences and new audiences who are eager for fresh, creative content that reflects the evolving African story. I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to our partners, DW. Thank you for trusting us, for recognizing the power of Hausa storytelling. This is quite very important to us. Your commitment to collaboration and cultural exchange mirrors our own mission. And we are honored to walk this journey with you. To our teams from Trust TV, Armenia, and Trust Radio, thank you for the hard work and dedication. Your passion for quality journalism and creative excellence is what makes milestones like today possible. Ladies and gentlemen, Afrimaxx Hausa is more than a show. It is a celebration of continent's energy, artistry, and imagination, told in a language that resonates with millions of people. Thank you once again for joining us. We look forward to a successful partnership and to the many stories that await. Welcome to the launch of Afrimaxx Hausa, and welcome to a new chapter of African storytelling. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Once again, a round of applause for the media, the CEO of Trust TV and Editorial Director, Media Trust Group. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the next item, I'd like to recognize in our midst the presence of Umar Farouk Musa, the CEO, Vision Media Services. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much. We recognize you. Thank you for being here.
Yes, and we'd like to recognize our own Nura Daura, Chief Financial Officer of Media Trust Group. You're highly welcome.
Thank you very much for being here, sir.
Yes. All right. Next up, we would absolutely be honored to have remarks from DW Culture representative Melanie von Marschek. You're highly welcome. Thank you. Please a round of applause
Let's
for her.
make her welcome with a round of applause.
Thank you. Okay, hello everyone.
Yeah, I'm very proud to present the partnership of DW, Germany's international broadcaster, with Trust TV here in Abuja, Nigeria. We feel very welcome here in Nigeria. And yeah, we are co-producing Afrimaxx in Hausa. Afrimaxx is a pan-African magazine show which is aired weekly. We are reporting from 24 countries in sub-Saharan Africa about art, culture, lifestyle, fashion, and food, and much more. Our hosts visit a lot of great spaces to do with the art, actually like this one here, this wonderful gallery. Thank you for having us and that we are able to present us here today and do this wonderful event. Yeah. We have started Afrimaxx 4 years ago in English, and we have built a pan-African network with journalists and producers from Kenya to Ghana, from South Africa to Senegal, and from Mali to Nigeria through authentic storytelling. And we showcase aspiring creatives who are shaping the continent's future in art and design and innovation. And now we have the next evolution of Afrimaxx. We are very proud that the show is produced in Hausa thanks to our partner Trust TV. Now the stories are reaching the audience in their own language. Afrimaxx in Hausa brings vibrant creativity and culture diversity of Africa to a wide audience that resonates locally. And partnering with Trust TV for this launch allows us to connect even more deeply with local communities and strengthen cultural pride through collaboration. So we are especially thankful for Trust TV for the partnership. And I like to thank the team of Trust TV, and I like to thank Trust Group actually for having the trust in us, to be honest. And yeah, I don't want to hold you up any longer. We are presenting you some clips of Afrimaxx, so you get a sense of the show. Thank you.
It's a journey. You're watching Afrimaxx. It's a journey across the entire continent into a variety of cultural worlds. Take a look. We highlight the creative spirit in Africa and how it affects the design space. From the history that defines us to the future that awaits.
I always look for those things. History. Culture and heritage.
Showing how culture transforms. Even though the potency of it is kept and the ritual of it is kept, there is a change that happens that is developing with the times.
In my music, writing about my roots is really important.
We'll talk to the movers, shakers, visionaries, and makers who embody the meaning. It's a journey. You're watching Afrimaxx. It's a journey across the entire continent into a variety of cultural worlds.
Take a look.
We highlight the creative spirit in Africa and how it affects the design space. From the history that defines us to the future that awaits.
I always look for those three things: history, culture, and heritage.
Showing how culture transforms. Even though the potency of it is kept and the ritual of it is kept, there is a change that happens that is developing with the times.
It's a journey. You're watching Afrimaxx. It's a journey across the entire continent into a variety of cultural worlds.
Take a look.
We highlight the creative spirit in Africa and how it affects the design space. From the history that defines us to the future that awaits.
I always look for those three things: history, culture, and heritage.
Showing how culture transforms, even though the potency of it is kept and the ritual of it is kept, there is a change that happens that is developing with the times.
In my music, writing about my roots is really important.
We'll talk to the movers, shakers, visionaries, and makers who embody the meaning of modern Africa.
Everybody brings this very unique perspective, even visually. It's exciting to see.
We get to the heart of African design philosophy to find out what makes creatives tick, with designers who are breaking boundaries and making waves internationally.
We'll reveal that secret.
What inspires them, and which traditional influences are being brought into the modern age?
We endeavor to tell stories of African culture so that they're not forgotten, because we don't write things normally. With what we do here at the Urban Native, we're really just trying to preserve what we can the way that we can.
Combining different African pieces from different countries do help project, and then they are connected. We are able to connect to the heartbeat of Africa.
Join us as we seek out the continent's finest design innovation, from interior and architecture, fashion, food, and the arts. It's all on
Afrimaxx.
That was absolutely beautiful, and there is nothing like culture, nothing like innovation, and nothing like Africa, as always.
Thank you very much.
Without much further ado, we have someone that would like to introduce the Group Chief Executive Officer of Media Trust. We have Ahmed Ibrahim Shekaro. Please, can we have a round of applause for him?
Thank you very much. The brain behind Media Trust Group.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, if you have your order of event, we'd like to go to the panel discussion, and it is under the topic, The Power of Storytelling, Redefining Africa's Global Image Through Lifestyle and Art. And ladies and gentlemen, to take us on this session, we'd like to invite the Output Director of Trust Television, Abdullahi Ahmed, to please step forward and anchor the panel discussion. If you clap, he will do amazingly well. Thank you very much, sir.
You're
a
highly
very
welcome.
perfect gentleman.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure the round of applause would be necessary, but I'll take it. It is always said that until the lion learns to speak, the tail... Right. Until the lion learns to speak, the tail will always favor the lion. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, tonight we'll be exploring the power of storytelling. How the stories of our communities, our culture, and our creativity are best told by those who live them. After all, a people who do not tell their stories leave others to imagine it. So over the next 25 to 30 minutes, this panel session will try to do justice by unpacking the latest developments in the creative, cultural sectors in Nigeria, highlighting the ever-changing landscape and what we need to take away from the Afrimaxx Hausa launch. And, as expected, we have a fantastic lineup of panelists, each ably qualified to speak on these issues, providing insight so that we can better understand why this launch is important, why the conversation we're about to have is equally important. At the end, we'll also make room for others to chime in on the conversation. We'll have at least 5 to 6 minutes for an interactive session about the issues that will be discussed and some of the ideas that will be shared. So without much ado, let's meet the panel. Introducing first to the panel, Toby Ayeni, also known as Miss Teki, is Nigeria's leading tech storyteller. She simplifies complex digital trends through her blog, YouTube, and social media, reaching over 400,000 followers. A voice of digital literacy, inclusion, and women in tech. Toby has collaborated with global brands like Google, Microsoft, and UNESCO. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the panel, Toby Ayeni.
Let's appreciate her, ladies and gentlemen. One more time with a round of applause. Thank you.
Up next is Prince Daniel, a media executive, filmmaker, and development communicator from Gombe. With 20 plus years in Nigeria's radio and media landscape, he has directed award-winning films, trained journalists, and contributed to peace-building initiatives, nationally as well as internationally. Please welcome to the panel, Prince Daniel. A round of applause for him. You're welcome. Next up is another lady that will add flavor to the conversation tonight. Please welcome to the panel a visual artist and curator based in Abuja. Her pointillist paintings, which is something I would love to understand how that works, explores culture, identity, and African womanhood, merging heritage and contemporary expression. Casey, as she's popularly known, also curates for Nike Art Gallery and serves as FEAN nationally. Please welcome to the panel, Katurag Chinyiwo. I hope I got the last name correct. And to complete the lineup, please join me in welcoming a cultural advocate and director at the African International Documentary Festival Foundation. He champions African heritage, storytelling, and community-focused projects, including UNESCO initiatives and the Mambila Hill Resort. Welcome to our final panelist, Abba Gazama. Is there a microphone? Okay. Yes. This will only take a minute. So at some point in time, Mr. Abba, you would have to share the microphone with Ms. Chinyu. Is that okay? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you're well aware, we are on the clock. We have, give or take, 25 minutes to wrap this conversation up. So let's make the most of it. Keep our answers concise so that we can make the most of it and have a lot of people also add value to the conversation. Can we mic check? Are all the microphones working? Ms. Teki?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so let's start this way, and I'm going to start from my far right with Ms. Toby Ayeni, and let's talk about digital tools and how they shape storytelling. This is an area that you're very well familiar with. Yeah. What can you tell us about that, and how can platforms like blogs, social media, and streaming apps be used to amplify African voices, stories, while preserving local context as well as authenticity?
Thank you very much for that question. Honestly, I think it's already doing a good job as it stands. So we have different platforms that a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Zs are now riding on to, promote culture. For example, recently, a Hausa music artist, Ojiaba, blew up. And everybody, both Hausas, Igbos, Yorubas were all dancing and vibing to the song. That would not have been possible if we didn't have a platform that was already pushing things out on its own. I feel as Africans, as Nigerians, what we need to do more now is to promote our own culture more, right? I feel to a large extent, the world needs us because we are original. They've not seen nothing like us. I can imagine if a Wizkid is trying to be a Tupac or a Wizkid is trying to be a Ja Rule, it will probably not have as much influence as what he's having now. So we need more African stories. We need to utilize more of these platforms to create more stories that are going to show African in the way that it has never been seen before. So yeah.
Originality, basically.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. And Prince, coming to you, very briefly, with your background in media and broadcasting as well as filmmaking, how do you balance creative flair with responsibility, especially in terms of portraying real communities, social issues, especially in this part of the country?
All right. Thank you for the privilege. First, I came here feeling guilty that I'm not wearing native. Because I had to come from Zuma Film Festival where I was a moderator and like that. If not ordinarily, I would have
We're not offended.
All right. So sometimes it gets conflicting because I am both a broadcaster and a filmmaker. As a broadcaster, I'm in charge of 16 radio stations across Nigeria. As a group programs director for Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info, Arewa Radio, which I founded myself by privilege, and Kids FM, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Onitsha, and then Kanu, and about to even open Wazobia FM in Benin. Then as a filmmaker...
I think that deserves a little bit of a round of applause, don't you think?
As a filmmaker, I think with all privilege, humility, I should be the most awarded filmmaker and broadcaster in Nigeria with 165 awards. But most recently, my film, Me Marchaba, happens to be Nigeria's official entry to the Oscars.
Right.
And then Kaka...
Can we please get a round of applause?
Kaka, which is another film I did in Hausa language, has so far received nominations and award 41. For a Hausa film to be best Nollywood film in the US, in UK, in Canada, means a lot to the language to Hausa language. And so the responsibility that we feel as creatives from northern part of Nigeria is that we have, if not the biggest responsibility, to be able to use the medium that we have, be it radio or television, and using the Hausa as a means of communication to tell our stories and tell it as genuinely as possible. Because if you are not telling your story, someone will tell your story. Just like you said, until the lion learns to write, the hunter will continue to be the hero in the story. So yes, to just zero it down to the question is that we feel responsible, and that gives us that balance to be able to do what is right to the people who follow us, and also to be able to push our narrative globally. So if time permits, I can even later mention how Hausa language has influenced other theaters around the world when we started taking Memataba from country to country,
right,
from university to university globally.
I'm sure we'll circle back to that. Thank you very much. Casey, coming to you. Your art uses visual storytelling to express culture and identity. In what ways do you think visual arts helps shape narratives about Africa that media or film doesn't do a good job in terms of capturing?
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. And as a visual artist, I would say your art is a very strong tool. And probably where music or the media wouldn't reach, your visual art would reach, focusing on themes that promotes the African culture, even culture that has existed even before now and still existing, and then you can still take it further. Now, talking about cultures like, or let's say images like patterns, which are very prehistoric, where we have our batik fabrics that we wear these days. Now, you see the patterns on the batik fabrics, those are things that existed even before now. Now, those are things you wouldn't see in the movies, but you see them in the art. Now, artists are using that to show what has existed before. And now artists don't even want that to fade away because we are the custodians of our own culture, and then we are still using it in our art now, and we're even using it in our wearable art, that's it, fashion and other things. Then aside that, when you walk into a place or in a country and you see particular kinds of or themes of artworks, it tells you more about the place. For example, you walk into an art gallery and you see sorrow, you see pain, you just see artworks that show sorrow and pain. That's what you think about the place. But when you see artworks that give you hope, that give you, that shows the rich culture, it shows you that these people value their culture. And there's no place that values culture or shows culture in colors as much as Africa.
Right.
So now, an artist is using his or her brush and her paint, her palette, to show more colors than I think the media will do.
Right. Thank you very much for that input. And coming to you, Mr. Abagarzama, you work to preserve heritage and cultural identity, right? How critical is storytelling in shaping collective memory and correcting some of these external misconceptions about Africa and Africans?
Thank you very much. What we do is to encourage the young Africans to tell our story as it is. We try to make them move away from the old narrative, from the negative narrative that is out there, and we encourage them to tell our own African stories and portray the African culture as it should be. Now, we have done a lot in trying to preserve and protect our own African culture. We have been working with UNESCO hand in hand for the past 5 years now, and we have preserved and protected the Sukur cultural landscape. Is in Adamawa State. It's over 600 years. It's been it is the first cultural landscape in Nigeria, and our young people usually don't know the importance of preserving this our cultural heritage, and we as an organization tell it to them that it is indeed important. We just came back from Kano, where we have done a lot of work extensively in bringing to prominence the Kano City Wall and the other associated sites. Now it has been on the tentative list of UNESCO for well over 20 years. And the young people really, most of the time that we interacted with them over there, had no first idea of how important it is to preserve and protect our cultural heritages. So as a foundation, we have done a lot. We have strived, and it can only get better.
Right. And these are things that they live with on a day-to-day basis. They see every day they walk out of their homes.
Oh yeah, daily. Now I can tell you, like in Kano, the Kano City Wall, you find that because they have no value for what they have, most of the Kano City Wall has been eroded, not by weather, but by man. What they have done is they have encroached on these walls, they have built on these walls, and you find daily, it has been bastardized.
Right.
Yes.
Almost like undoing the history of the once great city, isn't
Exactly.
it? Coming back to you, Ms. Teki, let's talk about the economics of the conversation, because we live in a society where you get the sense that if it's not making money, it's not making sense, right? The creative sector in Nigeria has contributed about $1.4 billion in 2023, and this was a big jump from the recorded numbers in 2020 during the year of COVID. What opportunities do you see for tech-led creators in this country, and how do they benefit from this big market that we apparently have in this country?
So specifically tech-led creators?
Right, I mean, as a whole, as a basket.
Okay. A lot of opportunities. I don't think we've covered the opportunities that we have and that the content creation space has to offer, right? I remember when I first started, I started as far back as 2015, and it was a struggle to even get the algorithm to focus on us, and by us, I mean Africans, Nigerians, right? It felt like the algorithm was not pushing our content to people, so we had that blanket over us. But now, we have our videos going viral. We have an average Nigerian can just post a video now, and it reaches far across even our borders. So the opportunities exist, and it even goes far beyond money. It's now more of influence. It's now more of shaping a narrative, right? I can imagine if a video talking about, talking about a product that an African built, for example. If that video goes viral, it has shaped that narrative of, Africans can actually develop a technology that can do so well, right? So for me, for what I do as a tech content creator, it goes beyond money. It actually goes beyond what I can get, but what I'm leaving behind as a creator in my space, right? So for anybody that's looking to jump into the content creation space, I would say, please, I feel that the sky is big enough for everybody, and we have not even uncovered what the market has to offer generally, both in terms of influence and in terms of even the money.
Right.
Yeah.
And Chris, just to double down on the economic side of the conversation, the creative industry in Nigeria already employs about 4.2 million Nigerians, and it could add a lot more according to some of the projections. 2.7 million this year, that was the projection. What kinds of capacity building as well as training, as someone who understands this space very well, what is going on there and what do we need to amplify it to maximize the success stories?
Okay, again, the creative industry has been a bit underemphasized. That is why I appreciate the Honorable Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy for her projection. She's projecting the economy, the creative economy to grow to as much as $100 billion by 2030. Now, when she said that, a lot of people thought it was ambitious, but I felt it was even under-ambitious, if there's any word like that, because I was privileged to be in the COVID-19 a committee set up by the last administration post-COVID to assess the impact of COVID-19 on the creative sector. And we found something very interesting, which I was sharing with my friends yesterday. What we found in that committee was that the creative industry, IT and broadcasting, the three, contributed more to Nigeria's GDP than oil and gas and mining combined. Now, what are the figures? We found out that the creative industry, IT and broadcasting, did to the GDP about 12.3%, whereas oil and gas and mining combined did just about 8.9%. And as big as insurance and finance did just 3%. With real estate, as big as real estate, just 6.4%. So it means the creative economy, the creative industry, IT and broadcasting, is bigger than all this, both in value chain and in ecosystem. Because as big as manufacturing did just 9.2%. So if you juxtapose it, you see that the creative industry, IT and broadcasting, has done more to the GDP than all this. As at then, the only sector that was bigger than the creative industry was agriculture, because then agriculture did over 42%. Because even services and other industries combined did just 33.3%. So technically, it is a large ecosystem, both in employment. I'll give you an example, even with my film, Memartaba, we were cast and crew 520. There is Aminu Sarah here. See how much he does on social media. There is on YouTube. There is Meshada. See how much they do. See the numbers. Is there so? See the numbers. And so see the employment values. See the national reorientation values in all this. So it is a sector that cannot be overlooked. Now that said, to zero down on the question is that as young creatives or as creatives within this value chain, it is that the government need to do more. This time around, not because the young people are already finding their path. So it is to create the right policies and the right environmental frameworks for the industry to thrive. Because what is China doing differently? Because China controls about 35% of export from creative goods. And if you do the number from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, they did an outlook in 2024 to appraise 2023. And they found out that the global creative economy from export from goods and creative services was doing over $2 billion. So if you take it from export from creative goods alone, it was about $713 billion. Then you take creative services where you have film production, you have music production, and all that. That was doing about $1.4 billion. So put together, it was huge. But China controls 35% of it.
Right. And then, Casey, coming to you, just to pick up on the $100 billion target by 2030, how can visual artists like you, for instance, what role do you think you can play in actualizing that? And what sort of support do you need for that to happen, since there's obviously a market for it, domestically and internationally?
Okay, domestically there is a market, but I wouldn't say the market is that strong yet for visual artists, because we still have people who underlook visual arts, to be honest. Because I work in a gallery and I hear some comments. People still undervalue visual arts. I feel we should make our art more appreciated. And I feel the reason why people still undervalue visual art is because some artists do not value their own art. We have artists who will make their works and you see them by the roadside, and because they are hungry, they're offering you peanuts just to buy their art. Now, if we had a funding scheme where artists are being catered for and then their work is for value sakes, then we wouldn't have artworks that are undervalued, and then we will get to that point. But unfortunately, most artists are quite hungry, and most events or most exhibitions we have are usually themed exhibitions trying to settle one thing or the other, or one trouble or the other, not really focusing on culture. Now you have themed exhibitions where people are saying, okay, the plight of women, the misery of children in Africa and all that, not really focusing on the culture but trying to solve a problem. But I feel if, like we have NGOs and organizations who are bringing up ideas or exhibitions for artists, visual artists, generally, not just painters, should have broader themes that are encouraging for people to buy. Because you get to see themes where people paint or make artworks and then they keep in their houses. They are not sellable. So we should have themes that are broader, more sellable, promoting culture. Like I said earlier, our art is our tool. We are the storytellers of our culture. So I feel most arts should actually speak about our culture.
And where do you see platforms like, say, Afrimaxx, for instance, stepping in to amplify your visibility, for instance, which sometimes could open you to new markets?
Well, Afrimaxx can have situations where they spotlight artists or art shows, and I feel that's a major tool, spotlighting artists, art galleries, art spaces, and showing the importance. Just by media showing it forward, it's a big tool.
Right. Mr. Gazama, coming to you, what kind of structural support do we need to look at here from government, private sector, in terms of helping, heritage-based storytelling to realize its full economic potential? I mean, you just talked about the Kano City Wall, the Sukuru Kingdom. There are so many others like that, I like to believe, that are still being catalogued, still being preserved. What needs to happen structurally to support the existing conditions that would actually have some sort of economic value going forward, so much so that it's sustainable to keep them?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, a lot of policies have to change, government-wise. Now, like the example I gave concerning the Kano City Wall, where it has been reduced to almost rubble. With strong government backing, a lot of things can change. Now they have to stop looking at it as if it is just soil or sand or history. Now that history is very, very important. If they attach the proper importance to that history, it can be even a money change, a money spinner for them. Now, we have to change the narrative. We have to tell our own stories as it is. We have to go away from the old narrative and paint the Africa as it is, ought to be painted. That is the only way. We have to be original. We have to be original. Now the government must play a very, very important role. The private sector, yes, they can come into. I will tell you, during some of our campaigns, the private sector has helped a lot. Now, they helped in funding some of our missions when it came to showcasing or helping the advocacy for the protection of these cultural sites. They came in by way of sponsoring researches, and the institutions too, the school institutions, the universities, the research centers, all must come together. All of us must come together so that we can change the narrative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the last lap, you all will have each a minute and a half. Give us your final submission. How you think conversations like these, the one we're having this night, on the launch of a program or a project like Afrimaxx, what would it do to move the needle in the right direction? Ms. Teki, I'm going to start with you.
I feel like the world is not looking for another version of what they already have. They are looking for something original, like we have all stated here. And if we can utilize more of all the tools that we already have, platforms, and I think this is why what Afrimaxx is doing is very important. Because owning something changes the direction, because we get to tell our own story. We get to control the narrative as opposed to leaving it to, other people to do, right? So if we have more people that can come forward and tell more of African stories, we have a lot of negative stories out there. It's outweighing the positive. And I feel we need a sort of a balance in all of it, right? So utilizing all these platforms, utilizing the digital tools that we already have, to promote the culture, to ensure that, people see us in the way we want them to see us, as opposed to in the way that they automatically see us just by the narrative that is being flying.
Thank you very much. Prince?
Okay, well, Afrimaxx, I think, is timely because the preservation of African culture is very important. And you could see that with the wisdom of Oscars, which is in its 97th year, how come every other film in the Oscars is for Americans, and only international language film is to the rest of the world? It is the power of originality in language, and you could see how South Africa were able to utilize winning their first Oscars with Tutsi. So it means there's something there that we need to look at. But again, to push the boundary further, there will be need for proper distribution channels, which is what is lacking in the industry at the moment. With the pulling out of Netflix and Amazon out of the Nigerian market, you could see that there's a huge gap, and that's why a lot of filmmakers have moved to the YouTube space. So that distribution aspect of content needs to be looked into. And I'll end with an example with Netflix spend between 2016 and 2022 by Netflix report. They spend in South Africa, Nigeria, between Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya, $175 million. Now, out of it, $35 million was spent in Nigeria. And $35 million by every metrics is close to or over 40 billion. But the shocking part of the story is because the northern industry, both in art, in culture, and in content, are not properly positioned, we are missing in that spend. Because imagine $32 million spent in Nigeria and not a kobo in northern Nigeria. I mean, not a dime. So there will be need, again, for repositioning of the ecosystem, be it art, be it craft, be it film, be it music, and all the content, all the 9 to 13 contents under the creative industry. Because anytime we say the creative industry, it is narrowed to film and music. What about art? What about fabrics? What about fashion? What about the tech industry? It's a huge ecosystem, and we need to take advantage of it.
Thank you very much. Casey, I know you answered partly some of that question earlier on, but what can you add, especially considering the opportunities that Prince Daniel was talking about that is almost untapped yet?
Well, I would say Afrimaxx is visibility for visual arts. Who can tell our story better than we? We live here. We know our culture. We know our story. We don't expect somebody from somewhere else to tell our story. So now Afrimaxx is giving artists this opportunity to show themselves. You can't keep hiding your artworks in the bush or anything. Afrimaxx is here to give more visibility. So it's an encouragement to visual artists to do what they do best, to tell their stories, and they have a platform now to show the world what they have, not just within Nigeria, but outside Nigeria.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Gazama, your final take.
Well, the beauty of Afrimaxx is that it is being championed by 2 giants, one an African giant and one a European giant. DW, I grew up knowing DW. I listened to them, I watched them. And Trust TV is very, very important too in our own part of the continent here. Now, who better to project our stories and our documentaries than the combination of these 2 bodies? So yes, Afrimaxx is here at the right time. It is going to make most of the work that we do much, much easier because we have a larger platform now to showcase our own stories, our own perspectives, our own lives, our own lifestyle, our arts, music, what have you. So it's coming, yes, at a very, very good time.
Thank you very much. Please, can we please show our appreciation by giving our panel a wonderful round of applause. We're going to open up the conversation to members of the audience. I've been told in no unclear terms that I should ignore some of the hands from the men folk and largely focus on the women folk because they have better ideas. I am not sure that's scientifically backed, but that's my instruction. So we're going to open up the conversation to members of the audience, and I'm going to start by inviting Aziza Sani to share her thoughts with us about the conversation we're having, African storytelling, and her perspective, because she will also build as a panelist for tonight's conversation. Shall we have one of the microphones for... And let's try and keep the contributions very brief. Remarks, questions, if you have any for the panelists. She's over there, but we need you to come into the light. Thank you.
Good evening all, and good evening to the panelists. What a wonderful discussion and ideas that you guys have poured out. And everything you said is exactly what it is, and the reality of our arts, culture, and creative economy. And the ideas and the solutions you've proffered are also the part that we need to really take as a country. Nigeria, they say, is the most populous country in the world, black country in the world. Yes, we are. And we have that creative repertoire, creative well, where we should dig into and tap from to improve ourselves and to project ourselves as Nigerians. We must not rely on the validation of the Western countries to be who we are. When they were introducing some of our artists here and the number of followers that they had, that's enough validation for us as a people. And so it means that we need to tap that to make it and turn it into an economic benefit for ourselves. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Azizeto. I appreciate you for the concise take. I would like to also call on Melanie, who I believe has a short take. Pass the microphone to Melanie, please.
Okay. Oops. Yes. So as a producer from DW and responsible for the program, I think from my point, it's also to bring out the stories of Africa, the cultural and innovative and wonderful artists and fashion, culinary, into the world. That's our aim. It's not only to tell the stories here, about people from here, with people from here, by people from here, but we also want to bring these stories into the world. So the African art and the African innovation and sense of the future is actually shown everywhere, globally, and that's our point.
Thank you so much, Melanie. All right, so we're open to contributions, remarks, questions. There's a lady over there. I mean, to the men, you can raise your hands. I'm allowed to ignore you, but please raise your hands.
Good evening. My name is Binta Iliasu. I'm also a content creator with 250 followers, just 200. So I want to speak in Hausa, please, because we are promoting Hausa and we are promoting Arewa culture here. I want to encourage my Hausa people to please come out. Muputo mununa wa dunia Arewa, mununa wa dunia mununa wa dunia culture dinmu. Saboda yanda suke kallon mu din mu canja perspective din su rika kallon mu da muhimmanci, su rika kallon culture dinmu da muhimmanci. So content creators dinmu na Hausawa dan Allah a dinga nuna Arewa. Mu nuna culture dinmu, mu yi preserving culture dinmu da heritage dinmu. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not getting paid to translate, but in a nutshell, what she's basically saying is calling on the Hausa community to take advantage of this opportunity to showcase the cultural heritage, which would go a long way, and they should really just come out and take on the proverbial bull by the horn. Any more contributions?
Yes, from here.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here because we need talks like this. It's an awakening I believe we all already know, and we just sometimes need to hear it over and over again. Farida Olopade is my name. I'm a traditional fashion enthusiast. I'm wearing ashoke. I don't think people believe that we could someday do things like this with ashoke, but here we are today. This was woven in Okene, Kogi State. It was sewn here, it was designed here, not because I saw it anywhere, but because I believe that African fashion can transcend all borders. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be big or be in Iro and Buba. You can wear it in any form that you want. And that is exactly what I believe you're sharing with us today. To believe in what we have and how rich it is and show everybody that they can rock it with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful submission. Inteng, can we balance things up now? Let's look for...
with a man, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we've had 3 women. Can we have 1 man? Okay, somebody's here. Thank you.
My name is Samir Ahmed from Sokoto State. Actually, there is 2 points I want to make. One of the Mr. Azman, when he mentioned, and also the other, I did not hold your name, you mentioned about some of the artists are hungry. So basically the point I want to make here is that the value of what we have, like Mr. Azman said, we don't value it. I'm from Sokoto State. I can remember back in the days, we used to go to like a museum, history, museum. Most of the time, you will see culture. You will get a tour, they explain things to you, how it comes to be. But those things don't exist now. Majority of us that have been trained by our parents to take us, to give us that history, we are not replicating that to our children now. That's why even speaking Hausa itself, some of us that are living in Abuja, we don't even speak Hausa to our children because we are thinking that we are more modernized when we are speaking English, even inside our own homes. So like Mr. Asman said, we need to come in to revive that culture and also promote what we have. We have a lot of, we call it Gidan Tarihi in Sokoto. Basically, it doesn't exist. The way it was before, now it doesn't exist the way it was. So let me just give it short like
Thank you very much. And it's Abba Gazama. All right, one or two more, then we wrap it up.
I think what we'll do, if we still have one more.
Yeah.
Any other?
No additions?
Okay, there's one more person here. Thank you.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Sunana Lawal Ahmad, jarumi a masana'antar fina-finan Kannywood, kuma producer, CEO Bakori Entertainment. Da abubuwan da muke yi na tabbata mutane suna gani, kuma ni Bahaushe ne daga Arewa wanda muke kare al'adun Arewa. Yana da YouTube mai suna Bakori TV, ina da subscriber miliyan 1.400. A kusa da ni akwai Aminu Saira, yana da YouTube sama da miliyan 1.600. Duk abubuwan da muke sakawa a ciki abubuwa ne na al'adun Hausa wanda na tabbata ko da wasu anan ba sa kallo, wasu suna kallo. So saboda haka na ji daɗi da na kasance a wannan fili domin ganin cewa an samu hanyoyi waɗanda za a ƙara haɓaka al'adun Hausa a arewacin Najeriya, kuma insha Allahu a tsaye muke kuma tsayin daka domin mu ga mun kai al'adun arewacin Najeriya da arewa inda ya kamata. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Another wonderful submission of how the industry itself is thriving with a big market that is still being explored. If we don't have any, do we have any hands?
I think we have one more. I do not want to incur the wrath of women folk.
Yes,
so
please.
One more woman, and then we call it a day. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Islam Omar. I'm accountant, embassy accountant. In the same time, I'm artist. I used to paint on plate and cups. So my question is, how can we encourage our young ones to be watching the TV while now everybody is close to the phone and mobile phone, and they are not too much on TV? So how can we encourage them more to be knowing more of the African? Actually, my father is from KB State, while my mother, she's Egyptian. So I am combining both culture, African culture from both sides, and I would like even my kids and other kids to even know more about the African culture. I'm very proud of it and really like it. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. So a two-parter, we're going to have Melanie, I'm not sure who's going to respond to that, the platforming, YouTube, traditional platforms, I mean like Trust TV, Legacy Media, but she's talking about platforming and meeting younger audience members on their phone screens. What's the plan here for Afrimaxx exactly?
Actually, we have everything we produce in long form. We also do it in vertical, and we also are gonna employ some or establish some maybe like creators to explain this. But we see that, of course, to catch the young audience, you need to be there where the young audience is. And that is social media. And that's what we are also, of course, aiming for. And the Afrimaxx content is already out there on social media. You need to look for it.
Right.
But
Right.
Trust TV also has a very great social media strategy to combine everything. So that's would be a question to the colleagues from Trust TV.
Right. Let's just say it's best explained when people follow. So follow and find out more. There's no direct question to any of the members of the panel, so we're going to have to wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and receive one last round of applause. Let's show some appreciation to our panel members.
Yeah, I understand you should take a group photograph. So can we have the official photographer for a group photograph with the panelists?
Is it just me, or was that a lukewarm round of applause?
I think we can make the applause louder. Thank you. Okay, so photographer, let's do this as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the panelists as they step down. Thank you very much for doing justice to the topic, and to the anchor. Thank you very much, Abdullahi. You did very well. Thank you very much. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while the panel session was going on, we had the honor of receiving in our presence the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Media and Publicity and the spokesman of the House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, to do us a very brief goodwill message tonight, help me welcome with a round of applause Honorable Akin Rotimi Jr., Chairman House Committee on Media and Publicity. Thank you very much.
You're highly welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and the leadership of the two organizations that have put this together. It's my pleasure to be here, and I bring you very warm greetings from, first of all, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, who is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Ian Zauzau from Zaria, and of course the entire House of Representatives. It is our pleasure to be here. We have as one of our very cardinal points in our legislative agenda, very open governance and inclusion. And as much as possible, we try to leverage events like this to be able to engage with Nigerians, to let you know that we feel your pulse and we know what is important to you. I think it's very important, the power of conversations. And I've liked very much the conversations that I've heard today. I believe that it fits into two cardinal points that are important to us in Nigeria at this time. Number one, there is the economic perspective. We're very glad that the launch of Afrimaxx is going to produce a whole value chain for quite a number of young Nigerians, from content creators to everybody involved in production, artists, and the likes. And we're very excited about that. We're also happy about the fact that we're also going to be addressing key cultural imperatives. I like the fact that we had a number of people speak in Hausa. Hausa, I can only say Sunana Akirotimi, that is all. And I can get my way around in the market, and I can know when anybody is abusing me. So those are the limits to it. But what I've seen here is what they call linguistic activism. It's important for us to also promote our language and our culture to other people around the world. Growing up, we all know, before my first visit to the United States, I knew everything about how Americans behave. I knew how they dress. I knew what their food was like. I knew about some of their brands and all of that. And that's the power of, our movies. That's the power of, culture and identity. And I think that we can do a lot more as Nigerians to promote the right perspective about us. If you know the crime rates in some other countries, I wouldn't mention some countries because we might have, this is a very eclectic audience, we might have some of their nationalities here, but some other countries around the world have very high crime rates, have very, very, negative things about their cultures, but they don't by themselves demarket their countries. I think that we can do better, right, to market our country and let people know the good things about us, tell our stories, and about our cultures and our people. Last but not the least, I think it's also very important that this is coming during the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence that is celebrated globally between November 25 and December 10. And I just want to also mention that for us, because this year's theme is about digital rights for women online. And I think it's very important that this is a platform that's also going to be able to advance the positive image about our women and our girls online. We're proud of the fact that the House of Representatives has passed the bill that prevents, prohibits, and redresses sexual harassment in all educational institutions. We're also, and it has been assented to, or rather concurred by the Senate and has gone to the President for assent. We're also proud of the fact that the House has passed the Child Online Access Protection Bill, you know, to be able to ensure that the type of content that our children interact with online is wholesome. Now, someone mentioned that when our children are always on their tablets, always, and we are trying to restrict, number one, the age of children that would have access to the internet, and number two, the type of content that's available to children with very, very, you know, severe, you know, punishments for people that expose children to unwholesome content. That means that you have to give them an alternative. So it's a challenge for us to be able to produce the kind of content, and I believe that Afrimaxx will go a long way in providing a platform for content creators to provide wholesome content that children from as little as, you know, their kindergarten can be able to engage with, learn a lot about their cultures, about their people, their tradition, learn respect, and learn the values of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the House of Representatives is happy about this and will support in any way that we can. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Akin Rotimi, for giving us those kind of words. Now, as we all know, right on brand, Afrimaxx is celebrating African creativity, culture, and innovation through local storytelling. Amma, bari na koma Hausa. Tunda dai wannan fassara shi za a yi a mai da shi Hausa, amma a yanzu jigon wannan I really displayed what has just been said right now. At the end of the day, it is quite important for us to understand our culture, to know how to disseminate it, as well as transfer it to our younger ones. But at this point, jigon wannan taro shine tasirin hikaya, sake fasalta matsayin Afirka bisa salon rayuwa da fasaha. Moving on, we have someone to recognize. We have Reverend Olusegun Peters, who is the National Chairman of AAP. Thank you very much for being here. Let us give him a round of applause at this moment. And last but not the least, we have a live performance from MT Schmurder. While you're enjoying your refreshment, please enjoy this live music.
Assalamu alaikum, yaren ya juyo, so zaki bani dan Allah miko, ajiya zana baki, zuciya ta ungo, gaki da kyawun hali.
Assalamu alaikum, yaren ya juyo, so zaki bani dan Allah miko, ajiya zana baki, zuciya ta ungo, gaki da kyawun hali. Ai yaraye, na lura kece ruhina, burina, a kawo ki dakina, ga mini gamuna, aure yau an daura, ni da ke zamu zauna, saki bini mu je gida, gida, aure, 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 na 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 na, aure, 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 na 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 na, kwalliya tsaf tsaf, anko ya ɗinku gaba ɗaya, all my friends and family sun fito gaba ɗaya, kira min canji gwandala gwandar guda ɗaya, aye oh, oh aye oh, Embassy King. Yeah, yeah, yeah. MD Bola. Yeah, yeah, you know it's a murder. Dancewa nake nima, me sani dariya, mai kauda damuwa. Sunan ki zan kira, kan san ki ai sai an jira. Kwantar gari guda, ko da sun tambaya. Sunan ki zan kira, baby duba. San ki ya ji mini ciwo, so nake ki mini kiwo, ki warkar da ni. Akan san ki, sai na zama barawo. Zuciya ki zana sato, sai dai a kulle ni. Na duba ki na gani, yan mata kin ci gari. So nake ki yarda da ni, ki ban alewa mai sukari. Na duba ki na gani, yan mata kin ci gari. So nake ki yarda da ni, ki ban alewa mai sukari. Saboda ke, na zo saboda ke ne. 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 Call me honest. Empty shoulder, you know it's a murder. Inama, ki zamo matata. Ni na baki dama. Ga wuri ki zauna. Ni zan baki sona. Kaman fura ki dama. Gani nan, kina ina ne gani nan. Gaskiya you my moonlight. Kan ki sana rana. A kai da kun mai sona. Da sanki ya shiga raina. Na je na dawo. Wanki zan komo. Baby na zo. Sanki zan kamo. Ran da na fara ganin ki. Soyayya ta kame ni. Kaman furakin dame ni. Alkawari zan aure ki. Nawa, 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 nawa kece nawa. Kece nawa. Da ce babu ke, ni na san za haukace. Burina na warke, baby na ki zo muje. Yan mata ki huta lafiya, ki haska wata zamaniya. Na zama abokin soyayya, dan san ki ya shige zuciya. Baby zo 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 zan baki so so so. Baby zo 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 zan baki so so so. Gaskiya you my moonlight, ki sana rana. Da saki ya shiga raina, kai ni gun mai sona. Na je na dawo, wanki zan komo. Baby na zo, sanki zan kamo. Ran da na fara ganin ki, soyayya ta kame ni. Kaman furakin dame ni, alkawari zan aure ki. Nawa, 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 nawa kece nawa. Kece nawa. Fully bad, me like your style. Fully bad, me like your style.
And ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for MT. Thank you very much. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank you for thus far you've been with us. We really appreciate that. At this point in time, before we start getting closer, if you have your program, after this presentation, we're supposed to have a little bit of open networking, interview sessions, and all of that. So we will give very brief moment for personal, interpersonal networking. So if you have a question to ask or something, move around. share pleasantries with someone close to you. You've seen, you wanted to say something, you wanted to do some sort of networking. Let's just take very few moments to do that right now.
Well, I believe everyone is pretty occupied at the moment. So I don't think they'll be able to do any networking.
Okay, so.
Am I right? All right.
Okay, so we can move on. All right, so at this point in time, then we have to go to the closing formalities. And at this point, I'd like to very respectfully invite the Deputy Head, Distribution Africa, DW, ladies and gentlemen, help welcome with a round of applause, Ote Hansen, the curator, to please step forward and present his closing remarks. Thank you very much.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, super. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, it's better. Super, okay. I think, given the beauty of this event, it's not necessary to say anything anymore, but I would like to use this opportunity to say only a few words. I promise I'm going to be short. So, DW reports in 32 languages around the globe. Hausa is one of them, and among these 32 languages, Hausa is one of the most important ones. So we are incredibly proud that we are having Afrimaxx in Hausa now, from now on, and I think that it is a huge match, because in both cases, on Afrimaxx and on Hausa, it is about the beauty of cultural elements shaping the way we think and perceive the world and reality. And it's so about beautiful aesthetics that are around us and are very, very important. Culture and arts are incredible, two very important aspects for life. So I would like on this point to thank Trust Media Group. My huge thank you to you, also to Trust TV, to the whole team. And yes, I think at that moment I would like to invite you for food. I hope you enjoy food, you enjoy the evening networking, and yes, a huge pleasure being here with you. Thank you so much for having us here. Thank you also very much for you to come in. Thank you.
Karka bari su kashe maka sanda kake nema ba mai taya maka ruwa na dukan ka su ko suna daka in baka ci ba su ci maka kai da kudin ka kana haka abu ma sai an saya maka in ka samu kawai ka kashe kutuma bura uba yau akwai bura uba ban balaga ba amma sai jaraba in abincin akwai dadi sai na daba kutuma bura uba yau akwai bura uba ban balaga ba amma.
Thank you, DJ. I think it's a rave of the moment, and whoever doesn't know how to vibe to this song, I think you are behind. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say a very massive thank you to all of you for being here from the beginning up until this time.
Absolutely, it is an honor to have all of you here to celebrate art, culture, and innovation as well, in collaboration DW and Media Trust, which is Trust TV. And as always, as we always hear on Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
So at this point in time, we've come to that moment where we have to say thank you for being here. So probably the engagement will continue as you have your entertainment, your refreshment. We will continue to engage, and we want to say thank you to DW, our guests that were here from the House of Representatives, CEO, GCEO, we want to thank you. COO, every other person, you are as important as whoever is here too. So we'd like to say thank you to all of you. If you were not here, this event wouldn't have been a success. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. And have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I believe right after, we'll be taking group photos. So when you're chanced, you'll be called upon and group photos will be taken. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Ojiabani, Goza Presido. Sit.
Abdul on the beat.
Hold up.
On behalf of my colleague, we'd like to say thank you. My name is Nten Ekbang.
And I'm Hawa Adamu Kiawa. Thank you very much, everyone.
Jikinan akwai addu'a bana tsoron baki. Wayo Allah wayo Allah na, wayo Allah wayo Allah na, wayo Allah wayo Allah na. Duniya na ban tsoro, wayo Allah wayo Allah na, wayo Allah wayo Allah na, wayo Allah wayo Allah na. Duniya na ban tsoro, wayo Allah na. Wani abu ne ke damuna, ni na dafa kuma ya nuna. Na kusa da ni ke zagina, cha 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 baya ido na, ni zagin su baya damuna. Basu su yi ko a riga na.
Please, I have been informed to let everyone know that they are serving food. So food is going to go around. So please kindly sit where you were seated so you can be served accordingly. They are serving food now, so it is important that we please stay where we are so we can be served. It's important that you eat to your full because you were here. Thank you very much.
Yau akwai tura uba ban balaga ba amma sai jaraba mun abincin akwai dadi sai na dafa wayo Allah wayo Allah na wayo Allah wayo Allah na wayo Allah wayo Allah na duniya na ban tsoro wayo Allah wayo Allah na wayo Allah wayo Allah na wayo Allah wayo Allah na duniya na ban tsoro samu kudin ka kawai ka kashe karka bari su kashe maka sanda kake nema ba mai taya maka ruwa na dukan ka su ko suna daka in baka ci ba su ci maka kai da kudin ka kana haka abu ma sai an saya maka in ka samu kawai ka kashe ka kashe ka kashe ka kashe ka kashe kutuma tura uba yau akwai tura uba ba balaga ba amma sai jaraba.
Join us as we seek out the continent's finest design innovation from interior and architecture, fashion, the arts. It's all
weather is getting cold, cold inside. Troubles